Anyway, I don't think they have the same population that they used. The pandemic might have like knocked bus companies out of contention, and it's been a little, you know, in fact they got rid of the main bus station, and that was near Chinatown. Technically it was right around there on the cusp of Chinatown. Alright, that's the Serpico River. But they got rid of the main bus station, and they have all these different locations where you can pick up a bus, and it's really inconvenient for people who are used to getting it right in downtown Center City. So if you're going to take the bus to a major city, you kind of, unless you happen to coincidentally live next to one of the bus pickup spots, then you are having to hike it, get there somehow, and it can be really sad on the buses. I took the buses twice a week for 1.5 years, almost 2. The last semester was a thesis semester for a master's in New York. I kind of went to New York for, in a way, I really didn't necessarily want to get an MFA, but I went to escape. It was like a trial thing. Okay, if I do this, will things be different in New York? And if I consistently go there, and I wouldn't go there on my own that much. I'll get this thing. Maybe it'll give more opportunities for work, even though it's expensive and stuff like that. Anyway, a really sad state of affairs on the buses. It's when your eyes are open to just how bad it is out there in terms of, people might actually get bus tickets just to stay off the streets and not go through another homeless night. Like if they're quote unquote lucky enough to get a bus ticket. There's those situations, like people are just on the run kind of, like, or they gotta keep going, or there's also a drug culture, but I actually saw women with their children, and I just felt like they needed the bus for shelter. It's an option for not being on the streets. Like, that was really sad. It broke my heart. I already know the situation is bad, in life in general. I was forced into a weird situation because of what happened to me in 2011, and it came to a peak in 2017-18, where the work that I had started to dry up, and it was almost like as if a whole bunch of people forced me, it's human trafficking technically, but forced me onto a quote-unquote ride. It wasn't really a ride. I was tortured and harassed in ways most people wouldn't even think of. It's like, that is crazy. How many years is it, like generations of people think of all these ideas of how to unleash a psychological and physical war upon I thought, is it other families, like families against families, even though they would just be demonstrating it on a single person. I don't have a major family. Nice sweeping. Aw. And anyway, so it came down to me needing to leave my apartment, stay. Luckily there was someone's place where I could stay, if you will. They were gonna sell it over time, but in the meantime, before they prepped it for selling, they sort of opened it up. These are people who are used to dealing with social services, if you will, or people in weird situations. And I just happened to meet this person through a volunteer thing that I did, opportunity that I participated in ages ago. I didn't know the person that well, but I reached out to everyone under the sun. And this one person came through, was like, well, you could, someone else is staying there, but there's electricity, there's water, but you could stay there. You know, I'm not sure. You know, he just sort of said indefinitely, but there was no furniture, nothing like that. You know, it's kind of a weird situation when you're someone who thought you were on a path to have like a career. And anyway, Philadelphia, you know, land of the Constitution, I guess, had other plans. Like, they decided to pick on someone who is alone. Like, it's kind of easier to choose someone who doesn't have a big family, especially one that has the capacity to totally be able to understand and or do anything about your situation. Like, I come from people who are pretty regular. Mostly people stayed in their jobs, you know, and you know, things worked out-ish. You know, for my mom, not as much as my dad. You know, my dad wound up divorcing, and then when I was like 2, and he and his second wife had the game plan there of how to save money, a dual income household, you know, and them having had slight more advantages big time than my mom, and my mom sort of struggling to get by. So it's almost like a game that snowballed into, you know, how much can we terrorize a mom and her 2 kids and tear down a family that was barely, you know, we weren't even considered competition, you know what I mean? So it's kind of in that realm. Anyway, walking back east on Walnut, and did a kind of a quick-ish walk. We are 24 minutes in, so it's a little bit shorter than my usual walk out to Market Street for the New York City lights. New York City billboards. I always say that because they're the only billboards in Center City, Philadelphia that are like kind of like New York City. Philly has tried to, you know, up their game, if you will, and be slightly more New York City-ish. So that's our, in a way, that's our Times Square. And there's a clock there and everything for good measure next to Hard Rock Cafe. So it doesn't work really, like it doesn't have the current time, but it's there, and seems like a lot of orchestrated-ish towns always have that big old 4-sided clock. It looks almost like a astronaut helmet or a scuba diving helmet from Jacques Cousteau days, when people first started diving under the sea, a million leagues under the sea, or what have you. And that's more accurately what it resembles. Anyway, some people see the world as completely, you know, timed, orchestrated, puppeted, if you will. I try not to go too far down that, because most people want to feel in control.